What's up, all you paddle freaks? Episode 1 of Couch Surfing from the APP World Tour. This is where we get to chop it up, everything about stand-up paddleboarding. And I'm your host, Dave Boehne, with my co-host, the one and only frother, Justin Holland. What's up, Justin?
Hey, guys. Yeah, Dave, good to see you, mate. It's been a long time, and frothing to be on the show, mate.
Yeah, let's get into it. Ooh, all right, just coming right straight into it. Who, in your opinion, is the greatest SUP surfer of all time?
Yeah, I think probably the first word that comes to mind is Kai Lenny. I think if you're going to call someone the greatest, I think in SUP surfing, you've got to be able to surf small waves, big waves, medium waves, and compete, and he's got it all. I mean, as much as we love to compete against him and beat him sometimes, he is definitely the complete package. So for me, it's Kai Lenny.
I gotta agree with you there. That's like you said, that's the first name that pops up. Kai Lenny was for so long, really the face of the sport in a way. Winning races and winning the surf events, and just the way he like transcends the sport. Bridges a gap between surfing and paddling. He was like probably the most important paddler. To bridge that gap. Just with his range and his visibility as an athlete. And then the only guy, or one of the guys that I think, there's an argument there would be someone like Sean Pointer. He's known as like a insane competitor. He's super focused. The final in Barbados, it had to be some of the best SUP surfing I've seen ever. And to do that in a heat, Sean Pointer came to mind real quick as well. But I think that whole grand scope of things, that Kai Lenny brings to the table, it's hard to deny.
Exactly, and I think I actually thought of Sean myself. He was right there as the next one. I think the only thing really that made me lean towards Kai was just the big wave stuff, and obviously, like you said, he's been there since the beginning, the early days, and hard to deny. But Sean Pointer, good friend and great guy, great competitor, and great SUP surfer.
All right, favorite location on tour, and this is a good one because APP is known for going to those exotic, locations that were not necessarily think about paddle surfing or even surfing, out of the way adventures. There's a lot to choose from, Justin. What come to mind for you for the favorite locations on tour or where we've been?
Oh, well, there's been so many great locations, and for me, if you put favorite as in the waves and the I suppose the contest setting and the potential to be really good, I was always going to say Tahiti or Hawaii for me, but the real standout trip for me was the BVIs, the British Virgin Islands, where we got sponsored by the Moorings, I think, yachts, and we all had a yacht, each different team, and we turned up to a place that had I suppose so many different setups and reefs and stuff that if we actually happen to get that place firing, oh my God, that place is paradise, and I think being able to surf there in quality waves, obviously when we got there, it wasn't as good as it gets, but that trip for me was like unbelievable. And I think we surfed, if you can remember, Dave, that one day that we sailed to that right-hand reef pass, and it was only small and it was tricky, but you could see that place lit up. For a natural footer, even for a goofy footer yourself, you would have been slamming the lip so hard at that place. And then where we were mooring, might have to correct me on what the name of that place was, but
Cane Garden Bay, right?
Yes, Cane Garden Bay. That right is world class as well. So we were in that zone. We had it all set up. The team at the APP had everything dialed and we were looked after. And I think for me, that was probably one of the greatest trips I've ever done, with you guys.
I agree with you there.
That's a pretty... again.
Yeah, that was a crazy trip, and all the characters that were on that trip, that was super fun. And being on those yachts was pretty amazing. And you also brought up Tahiti, which, is kind of like a signature Waterman League, moment in time where those guys were just charging. You surfed that event. I never went out there for that event, but just the images from those times on those big boards is pretty incredible. There's so many. Morocco is just another crazy one. And
Yeah.
then, just for me too, growing up in Cali, the Huntington Beach one was always fun because it always felt like, I've always wanted to do good in the U.S. Open of surfing, and it was kind of like our U.S. Open of SUP in a way, with the whole
Yeah.
amphitheater and all that stuff. And that was my actual first APP event, and I think it was the best I've ever done. I lost, I think, in the semis. So like that was always a fun event for me. So yeah, APP is known for bringing all the crazy locations. So I'm always looking forward to where the next one is. All right, number 3, who is the top SUP surfing nation at the moment?
It's the Aussies, mate. Of course, it's always us. We've got Shakira Westall. We got the world champion there. Three-time ISA world champion. You can't deny Shaq. And I mean, look, there's a long list. Kiadi Boyts, Boehne Nixon, Kai Bates, Dave Muir. Oh, look, the list goes on. James Casey. We are definitely got the talent there. We're the ones, mate. I like to stir it up a bit.
Hey, how did I know you were gonna pick that, right? But now it seems like there is that push from Brazil. Seems like most of the top 10 or the guys on tour doing really well are from Brazil now. With the Salazars, Wellington Reese, of course Luis Denise. I mean, the list goes on and on as well on the girls' side. Just like the surfing world, looks like, in my opinion, Brazil has to be the top dogs at the moment, but it's going to be hard to beat the Aussies and the Brazil riders.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I mean, they're definitely fierce competitors, and some of those guys are surfing so well. I'm getting a bit long in the tooth these days, and the bones are starting to ache. But I really admire some of the styles. Lecco is one of my favourite SUP surfers. He's got such a nice backhand style, and you can't go past at the moment Wellington's commitment to training and the way he's surfing. Luis, all those guys are. They're tough, and you've got to be at the top of your game to beat them. So yeah, but we're coming. Don't worry, we're coming.
Well, that's good to hear, man. Keeping the froth alive. All right, shout out to maybe some dark horses, hidden talent that might be coming up. Maybe some guys that have been around for a while, but maybe hasn't broken out to their potential. This one was a hard one for me, Justin. Did you pick a dark horse, or did you pick someone who's kind of been around for a while? Who'd you come up with?
Josh Stratton, a young kid from near the Central Coast in New South Wales. He's been on the scene a little bit, but he's a young guy, and each year he's just getting better and better. He's come through the junior ranks in Australia in the SUP surfing, and he's starting to be at the pointy end all the time and actually getting hard to beat. So he's, I think some of the footage we've got there is probably a year or two old, but he's sort of just starting to mature into a man, I suppose, and his turns are getting a lot more powerful and harder and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see when the tour kicks off whether he's going to look at maybe doing an event or two. I know he's shortboard surfing competitively, chasing the WQS series, I suppose you'd call it, or the Australian leg now. But yeah, one to look out for. He rides for Nash, so it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see a fresh face. I'm not too familiar with him, but he definitely looks like he has that nice springy, like almost Kai Bates kind of like, flashy style. And it'd be great to see some new talent, come up and battle it out with kind of the veterans that we're normally seeing. But for me, it's like there's like someone like Bant Roediger and Vanya Torres. I feel obviously they're on the scene and they're some of the best in the world. We all know that. But like Vanya, for instance, you see on the screen there, I feel is set up perfectly to, perhaps grab her first world title. We'll see if Izzy Gomez is still going to be around. She's obviously off and running doing the big wave thing. So it's almost like set up for someone like Vanya to kind of step in there, right? And Bant came to mind only because Bant's like one of those freakish talent guys, but he just hasn't really, shown up to every event. He'll show up every once in a while, and you're kind of like, damn, gosh, Bant rips. Where has he been? And I mean, look at that clip. He's goof foot when he's naturally a regular footer. And I know Bant's actually one of the guys who's been stand-up paddling the most recently. and he's pretty fired up and like enthusiastic about it. And I think that's a good space to be in.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like Boehne is always the kind of guy that you're at an event and you're focused and stuff, and then you go and look at the draw and you're like, oh shit, Boehne's here. You know what I mean? It's like you're kind of like, you know, because you're like, oh, okay, all right, well, okay, I got to kind of put the percentage level up a bit here, because you know that he's always bringing his A game. He's super smooth and he's a freakish talent. You just never know what you're going to get with Boehne. So for me, Boehne's always a wild card guy that you're just like, oh, okay, I got to really be focused on this heat, because if I want to beat him, it's going to be hard. And Vanya, I haven't seen too much of her other than I think that last year, 2018 or 19, but yeah, I mean, she's got a great style, good attitude, trains hard, and you can see by that footage, she's definitely got all the fundamentals to go all the way. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year when it all kicks off again, mate.
I love it, Justin. Right on, man. All right, everyone. Well, that's the first episode of Couch Surfing. Thanks for joining us, and we'll hope to see you soon on the next one. Justin, thanks for your time, brother. Good catching up, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Dave.